TJ Watt appears that he'll be back from his injuries because he had the pectoral injury, he had the arthroscopic knee surgery. It appears he's going to be playing, Ike, because the Steelers have waived outside linebacker Ryan Anderson. Wonder if any other outside linebackers are going to be added to the Steelers roster. It looks like TJ Watt's going to be back for the black and gold on Sunday. Ike, here's where I land at this. The Steelers sitting at 2-6 right now probably aren't going to make the playoffs. Certainly you want your best players out there playing and competing. You want to foster a winning culture. At the same time, you got to try to balance getting a good draft pick. And I'm not saying you outright tank because a losing culture can also be very contagious.
Right. That's
kind of my thought process going in, but I don't want to put words in your mouth. What do you think about Watt coming back for the Steelers?
I mean, anytime TJ Watt is on the field, you already know his presence means everything. And when he does step on the field, the amount of plays he do play, he makes something good happen for the Pittsburgh Steelers, something bad happen to the opposing team. That's just what a former defensive player of the year do in TJ Watt. Every time he steps on the field, it's a play to be made. Every time TJ Watt steps on the field, he caused havoc. Every time TJ Watt steps on the field, either he's getting a sack or forced fumble, and just to know it, he's getting an interception as well. So TJ Watt, man, when you say TJ Watt, man, you just think of, oh, I got a chance to win the ball game. And usually when you think of somebody else saying, I got a chance to win the ball game, you're thinking of a quarterback. But now for the Pittsburgh Steelers, when you say somebody who gives them a chance to be in or win a ball game, it's TJ Watt.
Yeah, I use one word, Ike, and that would be game wrecker. And I look back to a season ago, he ties Michael Strahan's single-season sack record. He also, by the way, led the league in tackles for loss, was the defensive player of the year. He broke that Strahan record despite missing 2 games. 3 games in which he played fewer than 50% of the team's defensive snaps. So that's why I say game wrecker. And we saw it in week 1 against the Bengals to where, oh my Lord, it's amazing. Joe Mixon survived getting hit in the backfield. And then the interception as well that we saw from him. And that was before he left the game with that pectoral injury, Ike. So game wrecker is the word that I would use in describing his on-field play.
Yeah, Mr. All I Do Is Make Plays. That's TJ Watt. That's his middle name. It's TJ, all I do is make plays. Why? Because every time he's up on the field, all he do is make plays.
Ike, I'm going to voice this as well. I know you're a little bit limited in what you can say as a scout for the Steelers, but you've got to be thinking from the standpoint of, hey, if the team loses, I get a better draft pick. So it's actually kind of a win-win for Ike Taylor. But again, I go back to if TJ Watt is playing, Steelers at 2-6 right now. If he plays in the last 8 games, I'd argue that perhaps the Steelers have a 3-5 record, maybe a 4-4 record. A season ago, when he's getting double, triple teamed late in the game against the Seahawks, strip sack of Geno Smith, Devin Bush recovers, Steelers get the ball back, kick a field goal, go on and win that game. That's the caliber of player we're talking about, Ike. I remember we did a Taylor Talk X's and O's plays breakdown of that specific play where this is not a hyperbole. He's going up against a triple team and still finds a way to make a play. When Watt lines up over an opposing team's right tackle, and most quarterbacks in this league are right-handed, it makes the opposing offense's life. It just makes the opposing offense's life a living hell. Like, I have no other way of putting it than that, and I'm being polite.
Yeah, with TJ Mark, well, first of all, to answer your first question, you don't want to tank the season. Pittsburgh already got 2 second-round draft picks, so that's a first, 2 seconds, and a third.
Okay.
So they'll put us in a good situation, period. But like I say, man, just TJ Watt just being on the field, you already know something good is about to happen your way. That's just what his resume says since he stepped into the NFL. So he always giving somebody a chance. And again, I say this again, usually when you think of somebody giving a team a chance to win, it's usually a quarterback. But for the Pittsburgh Steelers standpoint, it's TJ Watt.
I push back a little bit here because I go to Devin Bush being the highest draft pick in the Mike Tomlin era, traded up to get him at number 10 in 2019. And before that, the highest draft pick. I mean, it's been years. You got to go all the way back to 2000 when Plaxico Burress drafted 8th overall for the Steelers. Now, I will say this, though, too, and to argue against my own point, I look back and I go year by year, and it's like every other year, whoever the Steelers drafted the first round goes on and becomes a Pro Bowl player. So I just want to see the Steelers get some blue chip players that can be true difference makers on this roster. And that's what I'm weighing of, okay, if you're not going to contend this season, how can you set yourself up for success in future seasons?
No, you still got to contend. You can't look for the offseason. For the offseason, is guys like me, evaluating and seeing guys in college who could possibly join the Pittsburgh Steelers. But as a coach and a coaching staff, you ain't never looking towards the offseason during the season. That's just a good recipe of getting fired early, So you still want to finish the season out strong. I mean, if your job is coaching during the season, that's exactly what you got to do. Coach Tomlin says it best: win the game or win it. And if you're not winning by the end of the season, it's a lot of things that's going to happen. And it's usually not good, especially with a 2-6 record. So for Coach T and staff, man, it's just finishing the season out strong, giving the team, giving the players some kind of hope, giving the fans some kind of hope, giving yourself as a coaching staff some kind of hope. Like, yeah, we started off bad, but we ended the season like this. And that's all you want going into the offseason.